Rand going once. At 27,500 Rand, it is going twice. Guys, are we all sure? Are we all done? At just 27,500 Rand, if there's no advance, I'm going to sell it. At 27, at 29 now. At 29, will he go 31? At 31, will he go 33? At 31, will he go 3? At 1, will he go 3? At 1 now. Look at this coin. It is absolutely stunning. It almost looks proof-like. If you do look at this coin carefully, I really do think this is a coin that I would send in for a regrade at NGC. Look carefully through the photos of the coin and you'll see what I'm talking about. But the fields of this coin definitely have almost a proof-like quality to it, in my opinion. Alright, at 31,500, can we get 33? A last call at 31.5. I'm moving over to a fair warning. At 31,500 Rand, it is going once. At 31,500 Rand, it is going twice. Ladies and gents, is there no advance for 31,500? Then it is sold. Well done to our winner. Our lot 54 this evening is a 1967 to 2017 50th anniversary of the Kruger Rand 2-ounce silver bar with 1-ounce silver coin. It is currently bidding at 7,800 at 8,200 Rand now. Can we get up to 8,600? At 8,200 Rand now. At 8.2, will he go 8.4 at 9 now? Will he go 9.4 at 9? Who's got 9.4 at 9 now? The last call at 9,000. At 9,800 now, will he go 10,000? At 9.8 now, will he go 10,000 Rand? At 9.8, who's got 10.2? A last call and fair warning. At 9,800 Rand, it is going once. At 9,800 Rand, it is going twice. Ladies and gents, does no one want it for more? At 10.6 now. At 10,600 now, will he go 11.4? At 10.6, will he go 11.4 at 800 a bit now? What do you say? A last call at 10.6. I'm moving over to a fair warning. At 10,600 Rand, it is going once. At 10,600 Rand, it is going twice. There's no advance bid. At 11.4 now. At 11.4, will he go 12.2 now? At 11.4, will he go 12.2? At 11.4, at 12.2, will he go 13,000 Rand? At 12.2, I need 13,000. The last call and fair warning. At 12,200 Rand going once. At 12,200 Rand going twice. If there's no advance bid. At 12,200, it is sold. Well then, to our winner. Lot 55 this evening is a 2019 Kruger to Biosphere Reserve 4-coin colorized set. Our current bid on this lot is at 16.2. Will you go to 16.4? Let's make it 16.6. At 16,200 Rand now. At 16.2, will he go 16.6 at 2? Will he go 6 at 2? Will he go 6 at 17,000 Rand? At 17 now, will he go 17.8 at 8? Who's got 18.2? At 18,200 now, will he go 19,000? At 18.2, will he go 19 at 19? Who's got 19,800 Rand? At 19,800 at 20,600, the bids are flying through at 21 now. At 21 at 22, will he go 23 now? At 22, will he go 23 at 3? Who's got 4 at 23.8 now? I need 24,600 Rand at 800 Rand an increment here. The bids are flying through at 25,400 now. At 26,200 at 27 now. At 27,000, will he go 27,800? At 27 now, will he go 27.8? At 27,800 at 28.6 now. At 28.6 at 29.4, who has got 30,000 Rand? At 30,200 at 31,800 at 33.4, will he go 35,000? At 33.4 now, will he go 35 at 5, who's got 36? At 35,000 now, will he go 36,600 at 35 now. Our last call and fair warning. At 35,000 Rand, it is going once. At 35,000 Rand, it is going twice. Ladies and gents, is there no advance bid for 35,000 Rand? It is sold. Well done to the winner. Lot 56, our precursor to the last lot for the evening, is a stunning coin. And not only is this a standalone top pop at Sands, but this is one of just 60 proofs ever struck. In 1980, the fractionals, the half, quarter and tenth, all only have a mintage of 60 pieces. It is not easy to find a 1980 proof half, quarter or tenth Kruger Rand, as there are only 60 of them. Yeah, let's see what we can do here. Excited for this one. At 32,750 Rand. Can we get up to 34? I've got 32 now, to go 34. At 32, will he go 34? 2, will he go forward? 2 now. Has everyone realized what this is? Last call. At 34. At 34 now, will he go 36? At 34, will he go 36? At 34, will he go 36? One of just 60, guys. Last call and fair warning. Rotated die error. Also an error on a Kruger Rand. At 34,000 Rand, I've got a fair warning. At 34,000 Rand, it is going once. What a bargain. At 34,000 Rand, it is going twice. Ladies and gents, I'm about to sell the bargain of the night here. If there is no advance bid, are we all sure? At 34,000 Rand, what an absolute steal. Here it is. Sold. Well done, Chawana. A lot 57 this evening is a 2014 fractional Kruger Rand proof set. Currently bidding at 47,750 Rand at 500 Rand in increments. Yeah. Please note that there were only 500 of these sets ever struck. This is serial number 416. It's a 3-coin set, fractional set, yeah, at 48,750 Rand. Can I get 49? At 48, I'll go 49. At 48, will you go 49? At 49, who's got 49,750? At 49,250, I need 49,750 at 500 bid now. Last call. At 49,250 Rand. I'm going to move over to a fair warning. At 49,250 going once. At 49,250 Rand, it is going twice. Ladies and gents, is there no advance? At 49,250 Rand, I'm about to sell it. Here it is. Sold. Well done, Chawana. Thank you to everyone for joining Signature Auction 27. It's been a privilege. My name is Dylan Bassani. We do have our next Signature Auction ready, Signature Auction 28, so please be on the lookout. There is some spectacular lots up for grabs there. And then again, please do check out our Cull Fam auction. We're very proud of it. Some the top numismatic coins or union coins are on that auction. So please do check it out. Thank you for everyone. And thank you once again to our whole team. On Sunday nights, we all are here in the office. And we really do appreciate everyone joining us. Cheers, guys. Thank you for now.